everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a huge kind of collaborative how I basically survive school by getting good grades, pretty much. So a lot of you guys have been requesting for strategies for studying and things like that. So today's video is going to be me talking you guys through kind of my routine and that. Before I start this video, just for your kind of validation, without showing off, yes, I do get pretty good school grades, and that's why I thought I'd share these with you, because since I've done this, my grades have gotten even better. So this is my strategies for studying video. And isn't it ironic, today's shirt says living for the weekend, so this is what I'm thinking of every single time I'm during school. I just filmed a makeup video on how to achieve this look, so if it's not up already, if it is up, I'll link it down below, or I'll pop up a card right now, but if it's not, it'll be coming very shortly. I did say that I would do that, the video on the purple get ready with me, but I just didn't like it. When I edited it, I wasn't happy with it, and I'm not going to post something that I'm not happy with because I want my content to be kind of 100%. So that was, I suppose, my gist for why I didn't upload that. I'm sorry about that. I know I did promise it, but I just, when I was editing it back and watching it back, even as I was editing, and I edited it a few months ago, I wasn't happy with it, and I was about to upload it, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to upload it because I'm not 100% with the content that I'm sharing, so that's why. Now, I will study differently or complete differently an exam as opposed to I will an assessment task, or an assignment. So let's start off with exams. First things first, typically in kind of, and I'm not saying in any way, shape or form that I have experienced a high level of schooling or anything like that. I'm in year 9 currently in Australia, so that's 1 year before my senior study begins. But I still think that for people my age, and most of you watching the videos of my age, this will be quite helpful to you. So typically in high school, you will either get exams that are kind of scattered across the term, and those exams I find usually aren't as important, they don't weigh as much in your grading, or you will get the ones that do weigh a lot and they'll be put into an exam block and you'll complete them all over 3 to 5 days. And that is what my school does for the most important ones. So this is kind of me showing you guys how I handle the exam blocks, because I know people can find that quite stressful because you've got literally like 9 exams in 3 days. So this is how I do it. I will create, first off, I have this folder here. This folder has everything in it. It's got every subject, has a sleeve, and it's got all the assessment details and preparation that I have for that task. So first off, let's start. I have to be quite careful because I can't show you guys my school logo. So the first things first is over here I have this schedule. Now I'll put a layout on the screen, but basically it says the subject, the content in the subject, and the preparation I need to take towards it. So I place them in order of the exam date, so if I don't know the exam, I'll just put them in whatever order, but I will have the subject, I'll have all the content in there. Obviously you can tell some of them are blank because the teachers in that subject haven't given us too much to work on, which is fine because it's a month away. Then I have all the preparation and things I need to do, and that kind of becomes like a checklist, and I'll tick it off when I'm finished. So usually the exam block will take place when you get back from school holidays, so all this stuff needs to be done in the school holidays. So I'm going to use commerce as an example today because I have done all my study notes for that and I've gone through the preparation for that. So I'm going to talk you guys through commerce. Okay, so I will grab a copy of the assessment notification. So this one says we need multiple choice, short answer, extended response, and it says the topic areas. I'll grab my hand on the notification, that way I know what content I need to study. If your school hasn't given you out a notification in time, or you don't think you can prepare that late, then just talk to your teacher, and your teacher usually knows what's in the exam and what the topic is. So for this particular exam, we are studying law and we are studying personal finance. So I went through, first off, it says that we need to study in the exam. It says topics covered is law and personal finance. So I got given a syllabus at the beginning of each of those topics when we started them in class. And I go through the syllabus and I check that everything on the syllabus is in my study notes. I check that everything that I should be able to do is in the study notes, or that I can do it. So I then go through my book and I'll use my textbook, I'll use my exercise book, and I'll create a little study notes booklet. So this one has taken me probably about 2 days to do. And basically all the notes that it says on the syllabus are all in here. And this booklet is the content of everything that could possibly be on the exam. Then what I'll do is when I've done that study note booklet and everything that could possibly be in there is in there, I will then go through and highlight stuff I don't think I know already. So when I am doing that, I kind of think, if someone just told me this off the bat at any time of day, would I be able to tell them what it is? If I know the answer already, my brain is very, I think, unlikely to forget it, so I won't highlight it, but then I'll go through and I'll highlight everything that I don't think I know. Once I've done that, I'll go into Quizlet. Now, Quizlet is a fantastic website. You can do flashcards and studies and things, and I will create a test of all the things that I have highlighted. Then over time leading up to the exam, I'll just go back and I'll review it and I'll do some flashcard exercises, some testing. I will do multiple choice, and Quizlet is a fantastic platform where you can do all that stuff and make your own tests. You can do flashcards and things like that. So that's typically my preparation for an exam. That's how I do that. And I'm sure there are plenty of other websites aside from Quizlet that would help you with this sort of thing. That would help you with creating your own tests and flashcards and things. And what's great about Quizlet is you can take it anywhere. So you can have it on your phone, you can have it on your computer, you can print out the stuff. It's just fantastic. Okay, when I have a huge pile of exams or a huge pile of assessments that have all just come in at once, I will actually create a schedule for myself. So I'll pop a layout on the screen of an example. I'll include, this is kind of an example of what my schedule will look like. I'll create one of these when I have an exam block or a pile of assessments, and basically all that is in it is I take into account when I have school, whether I have when I have YouTube videos to film, when I'm going horse riding, and that's kind of, I block them in Excel, and I can maybe do a video tutorial on how to make it if you guys would want that. I will do that. Then I will put in, I try and get about 2 to 3 hours in an exam of study each week. And then I'll plan it out around my week, so it'll all go around everywhere. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's really important to take into account when you're doing these schedules. People all have a different concentration span. For me personally, I can't work fully on repeat. Probably maximum I can work on repeat is 1 hour, and then I need at least a 15-minute break. So you guys need to kind of take into account, do I work well for 30 minutes? Do I work well for 2 hours? Do I work well for 1 hour? And once you figure that out, you can kind of lay out your schedule to work around that. It's really important too is make sure you have sessions in there where you relax, because it's exactly the same with horses. If horses don't have a break, they go nuts. Same with us. If we don't have a break, we go nuts. So make sure that you're giving yourself at least, I would say, try and get in half an hour to 1 hour of just pure relaxation downtime for you each day. And that will kind of help you. You don't need to follow the schedule tightly, but if you can kind of work within the parameters of your schedule, you'll find that your life just feels much more organized. Okay, the next thing is writing assignments. Okay, this includes reports, reports, essays, speeches, it includes pretty much everything. So basically what my routine is for when I have to hand in an assignment is I will take a look at what the task is. So if I actually, 1 second guys, maybe I might actually find, because I have, oh god, no, don't break. I'll kill you, laptop, if you've broken. Good job. Okay, I'm going to find for you on my laptop an example of a notification that I got for a history assessment, and I'm going to find it for you. For history, we were studying the Industrial Revolution, and it says, discuss, not just describe, the impact on England's cities of the Industrial Revolution, the impact of the extension of railway in England, the creation of a new social class, the working class, and the expansion of the middle class, and you are required to discuss the changes that have occurred in this period in Australia. That was what the task was, and we had to write, I think the report was 1,000 words. So what I went ahead and did, and handwritten notes were actually essential for this task, but this is what I would typically do anyways, is I would get my task and what I need to talk about, and I would create, for each of the categories, I will create a mind map. and I'll have 3 mind maps, and then I'll draw arrows of all the things I want to talk about in those categories. So I'll make little subcategories for each of them. Once I've done that, and I actually now want the information, I've now figured out what I want to talk about, now I want the information, I will go through all those little subcategories and I will make sure I have at least 5 points that I can discuss about that subcategory. So let's say, for example, if we're looking at the impact on England's cities, I will have a bubble that says the impact on England's cities. I'll have one arrow that will say pollution in relation to the climate. I might have another one that says pollution in relation to health. Then I might have urbanisation. Then I might have, I was thinking of maths then. Then I might have overcrowding. Then I might have unhygienic. And let's say, for example, or I might have disease. Now let's say that I take disease. I want to take 5 points from that little subcategory, and I want to write 5 things about them. So it might be cholera was very famous in England, or there were heaps of tuberculosis outbreaks, or, and then I'll give some stats. So I'll make sure I have 5 points for each of those little subcategories. Then I'll put all that collected information, all, in this case, 4 mind maps, with all the subcategories and all their notes into a report. What is so easy about when you do those notes and when you put the subcategories in and you do the mind maps, you are literally just pulling the information from your handwritten notes straight into your report. And it's so much easier because you're not having to think whilst you're writing, you're just pulling the information into your report. Now, what actually happened with me is the report was meant to be 1,000 words, mine got to 4,000. I know. Great job, Paige. Well done. So if you are having issues with getting to the word limit and you're not having issues getting down to it, if you're having trouble getting anywhere to it, this method will give you heaps of words to talk about and give you heaps of things. Then it's a matter of just going back through your notes once I had those 4,000, going back through my report. Were there things there that weren't necessary? Were there points that didn't really relate to the question? And I take a look at the marking criteria as well. And if you look at the marking criteria, it'll tell you what the marker is looking for. And if you see a few notes that aren't really going to help you with that, then I'd wipe them out. And eventually you get back to 1,000 words. I'm pretty sure mine was about 1,200, 100. So check with your teacher the parameters of how far you can go outside the approximation of the words. Our teachers weren't too fussed about it, but if it says 1,000 words, just check with your teacher. You know, can I go 100 under or 100 over, etc, etc. And what's great too about that mind map thing is you'll get so many ideas, because once you write one, you're like, oh yeah, there's another one that I can write. Oh yeah, there's another one I can write. And you'll come with so many ideas that you'll actually need to concise it. And for people like me, I suppose, who I feel like I always write too much, I don't mind having to concise it, but it's great because I feel like even through all that of having to concise it, I've still learned something and I still feel like I'm satisfied, if you know what I mean. Okay, so one of my biggest issues is procrastination. So not in the sense that I would put off doing the assessment task, but in the sense that I don't know what the task requires of me. Sometimes the notifications that you get aren't actually that descriptive or aren't that helpful. So sometimes I won't know what notifications I get, and I won't be able to interpret them as best as I'd like to, and I don't know what standard the teacher wants. Obviously they want the best standard, but to what extent? How many words do they want? What structures do they want us to go with? So basically whenever that happens and teachers are being a bit hard to get answers out of, I will write my assessment task. I will do it to my own standards. I will do it to the point where I think it's right. Then I will take that task to my teacher. I'll get them to read through it and I'll be like, is this what you're looking for? What else are you looking for? Typically teachers will give you feedback. Sometimes they'll be a bit uptight about it and they won't want to because they don't want to be giving you an unfair advantage. But most of the time they'll give you some feedback and tell you ways you could improve on it. So that's what I tend to do with that procrastination side of me. Typically I will start my assessment task, whether that be exams or things, a minimum of, I'd say, 2 weeks before the due date. That gives me enough time to do my assessment task with good quality without rushing it and give me a chance to get some feedback from my teacher. And to be fair, you know, too, some teachers get quite uptight and they don't want to give you feedback and they don't want to help you out with your task because they think that's an unfair advantage. But I would press them on it because they are teachers, they're getting paid for a reason, and you're allowed to ask questions and don't feel like you're not allowed to. That's why you're there, take advantage of it. Just saying. Okay, next thing is you always want to be able to know how to improve. So for me, I have this folder, which I already showed you guys, just green, and it's got, each thing has a thing. So this is commerce, then I have religion, get what I mean? So I've got one for every single subject, and I've got a sleeve. I will keep in there past assessment tasks, future assessment tasks, preparation, everything goes in there. And at the back of each of, let me find a subject I'm good at because I don't want to show you guys that I've done badly. PDM, I went fantastic in this year, so let's look for example. Okay, so I keep all my assessment results here. I put the type of assessment task that it was, I put what it was out of and the percentage I got. So for this one, I got 98, 100, 96 and 93. So I've put them all down here, and going here, I can see improvements that I've made from my last task and improvements I can make in my future tasks, and it's really easy to do. So that is typically what I'll do, and I have that for every single subject. And tasks that I do get back, I keep them in a folder and I go back and look over them, and it's kind of just funny to see how much you stressed about something that didn't need to be stressed about. Me personally, I feel like I'm a pretty motivated person when it comes to schoolwork and things like that. That's just how I am. I've always kind of been like that. But a few things that kind of help me stay motivated is having a really neatly, beautiful, tidy book with highlighters and pretty stuff. So in a class where I typically go insane, for me that's maths for multiple reasons, but maths is the class where I typically go insane. I have the most beautiful, neatest book ever in the history of everness, right? Because that's a word. So at the beginning of my book, I have here, I've got my little highlighter key. Let me find the neatest page in the book for you. Like I said too, if you have a class that you hate and you go insane in, I don't hate this class, I just get frustrated really easily, then have a really beautiful, presented, neat book, because it'll make your life so much easier. So I've got my little key, examples are green, summaries are blue, exercises are yellow, titles are pink, and this is my maths book, so this is the one that is the neatest for me. Let me show you guys some more. So over here, same thing, and keeping this key and kind of keeping this really nice, neat, presented book keeps you motivated, I suppose, and it makes you want to, when I write, it makes me want to keep it neat. Sorry guys, the exposure's going crazy. It makes me want to keep it neat, and it gives me the motivation to do exercises because I want to add to this beautifully coloured book. So that's that. And the highlighters, I just use the little mini Faber-Castell ones because I think they fit in your pencil case really easily. But yeah, have a neatly presented book, and it will motivate you to go back and even look for study notes and look for things that you need help with, because you enjoy going back through it and you are satisfied with the work that you've done. Next thing for staying motivated. Let me see, I had my notes all written down. Motivation doesn't always come to you. It just doesn't. That's how life works. Some days I feel really motivated. I want to do everything. Like today, I want to film like 10 videos today. Or sometimes you have no motivation whatsoever and you don't want to do anything. On those days, if you can afford it, don't do anything. Your mind needs a refresher. But if you can't afford it, buckle down and get it done is basically my advice. I can't speak today. I've filmed too many videos. Make sure you're leaving time for a hobby or for something that you enjoy doing that doesn't have anything to do with school. So for me, that's horse riding and YouTube, and kind of revolve your schoolwork a little bit around them, because it's important that you kind of have a little bit of a relaxed outlet. For example, for me, when I was doing my study notes for commerce the other day, I didn't want to do it, and I was like, you know what, this is really annoying me. It's not even school holidays yet, it's the weekend before the school holidays and I've already started. And I said to myself, okay, if you finish all this, you get to watch a Heartland episode, or you get to go get a Tim Tam, or something like that. So reward yourself, because you'll be more motivated to do it. Next thing is, if you aren't making improvements, or you don't think you are, look for them. Don't just sit back and think, oh crap, you know what, last time I got 25 out of 25, now I've got, actually, you can't really make an improvement from that, can you? But you would try and find the smallest of improvements. For example, I had an assessment task earlier this year. I was not happy with it. I was really, really annoyed with my mark. I didn't feel like I got a mark that I deserved. But then I thought, you know what, I calculated it, I made a 0.8% increase, people. That is an increase. Regardless of how small it is, it's still an improvement. And every improvement, when they all get put together, adds up to a huge one. So look for the smallest improvements, whether that's 0.1%, 0.8%, a 2% improvement. If you add all those up, you're eventually going to get a really big one. So that's my advice for finding improvements. Know what you want, okay? You need to know your outcome before you get there. So if you say you want, I want a good mark on my exam, that doesn't mean anything. A good mark doesn't mean anything. A good mark is I want a, for example, obviously this changes for people, I know, but let's say you want a 90 on your exam. I want to get 90% or above. That is a much better range of mark than I want a good mark. So know your outcome. What do you actually want? Do you want to get 85%? Do you want to get 95%? Are you happy just to pass and get 50%? You need to know your goal, because if you don't know your goal, there is no way you're going to get there without even knowing what your goal is. So make sure you know what your outcome is. For finding motivation and things too, there is an excellent YouTube channel called Your Riding Success. Now yes, she is an equestrian, so she does do horse riding and stuff, but she has a series called Monday Motivation, and every week she gives a quote and she kind of challenges you to get out there and get something done. So that would be great if you guys want to follow that. That's kind of my inspiration for the week, I suppose. Another big thing too, if you're getting the same mark that you don't want all the time, nothing is going to change in your mark unless you change something. So if you get back a crappy mark that you're not happy with, you don't like it, that's great, you don't like it. Look at the criteria, look at what you didn't achieve, and look at the comments your teacher has given to provide feedback. If they don't give any comments because they're annoying, then go to the teacher and ask them, what do I do to improve? And you need to set yourself things to focus on so you can improve for your next one. You need to have a process to get to a better mark. About finding that motivation to get to that better mark when you've given up a little bit and you don't really want to continue. Biggest thing, make a goals board. What do you want to be able to do in 10 years time? Do you want to be able to have enough money to travel around the world? Do you want to be able to provide for your family? Do you want to take your family on a holiday? Do you want to live in a nice house? Being okay, yes, your English mark that you got last week isn't going to get you there, but it's going to build the work ethic that is going to get you there. So make a goals board of things that you want. Do you want to be able to go shopping whenever you want? Do you want to have a beautiful house? Do you want to be able to build a pool? Is there stuff that you want in life that getting those marks and building that work ethic is going to get you there? Make sure you use your school diary or you use your school planner. I personally wouldn't survive without one, but it just keeps your life organized, really concise fashion, and it's just, I think, an essential. And you'll feel, even if you aren't getting great marks, if you think you're organized, that's a pointer for me inside my head. So yeah. Sorry guys, this video's been so long. The last thing is, these are some apps and things that I think would really help you guys out. So let me move over so I can chuck all the apps here. But we have Wunderlist. Wunderlist is basically a organization tool, so you can create to-do lists, a calendar, things like that. It's fantastic. I use it every single day. Wunderlist, and it's free. Quizlet, like I was talking about before with the flashcards and the tests and all those sort of things. Photomath. So Photomath is basically, if you have a maths problem that you've printed out but you don't know how to solve it, you can take a photo of it and it will show you the steps into how to solve it. So that's quite helpful if you aren't understanding the concepts. Google Drive and Google Docs. This is basically more PDM assessment, my PDM task, because we use iMacs in class, but then our school laptops are actually different. So I will use Google Drive so I can access the same documents throughout the things. So yeah. Draw calculator. So basically, sometimes on my phone I don't like to actually, let me get it up for you. I don't actually like to type, so I'll be like, what's the square root of 86? And then it like, I'm not sure if you can see that. Or I can be like, what's the square root of 64? Obviously I know it's 8. But you can like draw on the calculator, and I just find it so much easier when I'm trying to work out stuff than typing stuff in. So that's called Draw Calculator. Next thing is Jero. Now if you need breaks, Jero is great. You can put yourself on a sprint and it will do the work. It'll tell you your work session, then an alarm will go off, break, alarm will go off and you need to get back to work, and it's just really good for kind of time management and getting those breaks in between your studying. And Spotify is just great because I use it when I'm studying because I can't study in silence or I can't work in silence. I need some sort of music, so the playlists I love are acoustic concentration. I love listening to the Twilight soundtrack. I don't know why, but that gets me really concentrated. My username is sprinkleofpaige, by the way, so if you want to follow me you can see all the playlists that I'm following. Maths Online. Now Maths Online is being provided by my school at the moment, so I don't have to pay for it, but even if your school's not providing it, I would seriously recommend signing up. It's basically a guy. He covers from kindergarten to year 12 advanced, and he does maths. And he will do a video tutorial, then you'll get some questions, a worksheet, and he's really good at explaining stuff. It's really simple, really effective, and it's going to get you better maths. That's the only revision. Here we go, we're gonna get spam. It's the only revision thing I will use for my maths subject, pretty much. So Maths Online is great. And last but not least, Canva. So Canva is a graphic design software. It's free to use, great for making posters and visuals and things like that. And it's what I use to make my thumbnails, and it's just fantastic, so I would seriously recommend that. Thank you for watching this week's video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I do apologize if it was very lengthy and very long, but I literally wanted to put everything into one video as a bit of a survival guide for you guys. So thank you for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Remember guys, you're living for the weekend, so get through school and the weekend will come eventually. Goodbye.